Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today I'm doing a follow-up episode from yesterday's episode with George Haymaker. And if you did not see yesterday's episode, I encourage you to tune in because it was all about neuroplasticity. And you might be thinking, neuroplasticity, that is a huge word. But really, all that means is that our brains are not fixed, they're moldable, they're changeable, and they have amazing potential. So, all of those negative thoughts, patterns, habits, and beliefs that you got programmed into your mind, and I promise you, deep into your mind when you were younger can actually be rewritten. And like I said, go back and listen to the episode. It's a really good one. And I wanted to just kind of come on here today because I wanted to give you 5 quick practical tips that you can use today to start rewiring some of those synapses. Because they're not just bad habits. None of this was your fault. They were formed out of survival skills. That these are things like emotional shutdown, people pleasing, over apologizing, staying silent and being small, being a caretaker. These are things, and taking care of everybody else but yourself. These were hardwired into our reward system. And doing these things kept us safe, kept our world safe, kept our mind safe, or so we thought. But now, as we know, if you've probably heard me talk a million times, going into adulthood, it no longer serves us. So I wanted to share with you pretty much 5 practical tips. And these are all for my fellow ACOAs because neuroplasticity is just your brain's way of saying, hey, Tammy, it's okay. You can start again. Those beliefs, those habits, they mean nothing because we can go again. So before I even start, I want to talk just a little bit about the brain and kind of what it does and how your habits form. So you have a stimulus, and in this case, we're going to call it a trigger. And then you have a habit, which is your response or reaction. And then you have a reward system. So this could be relief, this could be avoidance, this could be familiarity, whatever it is. It's something that gives your brain that little bit of dopamine hit that says, whew, things are good. So you get stuck in this loop, especially in emotionally unsafe environments. And it's craving, your brain is craving this comfort and predictability. It's not worried about the health of your brain. It's not worried about thriving out in society. It's doing is worried about keeping you safe here and now. That's why we kind of our brains choose the path of least resistance. So if you're trying to change a habit, make a change, believe other things, your brain is so hardwired to go that way and it enjoys that comfortability or predictability that it would rather just think those negative thoughts and go, it's okay, than to actually fight them and combat them. But in order to have a better world, my friend, in order to have a better, happier life, you actually have to start reshaping those emotional responses. And you can do it. I promise you. And you can actually start doing it today and changing those habits. So I've been doing this for many, many years, and I like to try to simplify things because there's a million, I mean, I could write a whole book on this, but 5 simple strategies that you can use starting today that will help you start to rewire those neural pathways and to make you believe different things deep, deep, deep in your subconscious mind. So the first one I like to call catch and replace. So what this is, and we all have it, we all have that inner critic voice that jumps out at us and thinks a negative thought. Um, if you make a mistake, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? I always screw things up. Stop that mid track. Stop the thought as soon as you have it and say to yourself, I don't always screw things up. I'm learning and growing. Mistakes help me evolve, or whatever it is, whatever the positive, counteractive statement is that you have to make about that. What this does, it starts to dissolve that negative neural trail and it lays down a new one. So instead of telling your brain, I always make mistakes, you're saying, nope, we don't go there anymore. We're not going down this road of beating us up, talking bad about ourselves. We're just not doing it. So again, take the statement, I always screw things up, or I'm not good at anything, and replace it with something like, I am learning, I am growing, I am way closer to being the best person that I want to be. So that is the catch and replace. Number 2 is rewire the reflex. One of the examples I really like about this is, and the way you do this is you identify a unhealthy habit and replace it with some new action. The one that I really had to work on was caring for everybody but myself. So as soon as something jumped in or some situation jumped up that I thought, oh, I can fix it and I can make everything better, I had to stop. I had to rewire that. Instead of having that reflex to give and to do, I had to step back and I had to say to myself, this is not my problem, not my circus, not my monkey. You can take care of it. And all I did was offer support with little judgment. But again, it's rewiring that reflex to do, to stop. And it doesn't erase the old habits. What you're doing is actually replacing them and you're building new muscles. Your brain is muscles and it's like muscle memory. If you work out at the gym, right, and then your muscle gets bigger, your muscle, and it's the same thing with your brain. So in this case situation, you're teaching your brain a different way of showing up emotionally. Number three is the 90-second emotion pause. Now, I know you might be saying 90 seconds is a really long time, but it's okay. What we want you to do is when you're having or you're getting triggered or having a severe emotion, just pause for 90 seconds and just observe the emotion. Don't feel it. Tell yourself, wow, this is really interesting. Be curious about it and tell yourself it's okay. You're safe now. And the reason that this works is that emotions last about 90 seconds chemically. So unless you feed into them and feed into those thoughts, they're going to stop in about 90 seconds. And what this teaches your brain to do is kind of ride those waves instead of getting caught up in them and tumbled around in them. So again, when you have an emotion and you're getting upset about something, I just like to sometimes close my eyes and breathe and say, this too shall pass, and just keep reminding myself to be in that present moment and just pause. Because again, if you don't, it's going to snowball. And that 1 second of I always mess things up is now turning into I'm so stupid, I'm so dumb, I'm this, I'm that, blah, and you're getting so wrapped up in that emotion. Where if you just sat with it for 90 seconds, it would go away. The next thing I like to talk about, and you will hear in a lot of my podcasts that I talk about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, when you're having a burst like this, you can also shorten that. And really, what it's doing is it's just grounding you, it's bringing you back to the present moment. So I like to say three things you can see, two things you can touch, and one thing you're proud of today. So that's different than one thing you can taste or smell, which you've probably heard me say a lot. And what that does is it engages the prefrontal cortex, your logical brain part, and it brings you back to the present moment when normally, if you're not in that prefrontal cortex section of your brain, you're way too reactive and the old trauma circuits are kind of hijacking your system. So what this does is it brings you into that logical, calm space and you're in the present. So you're not catastrophizing about the future because of what happened in the past and you're not living in the past. So this is a really good one. Um, and the last one is what I just call the bedtime rewire. And this is about gratitude. And it's all about really rewiring what we think about every single day. So at the end of the day, whether you do this in a journal, whether you just lay down, close your eyes and think about it, or just talk it out loud, have a gratitude book. One thing you're grateful for, one thing you did well today, and one thought that you want to wake up with tomorrow. Again, all of this is just becoming patterns and it's becoming habits and it's becoming new thoughts because again, I love that our brain is so absolutely brilliant and it did so many amazing things for us, but now it's time to tell it who's boss. Now it's time to rewrite those stories and now it's time to really take back control. And in order to do that, you have to change the habits. You have to make the reward system for something positive, not something negative, something positive. And I promise you can do this. Um, I could go on and on and on about neuroplasticity. There's so much that could be said. George's interview yesterday said it really well, but I just wanted to give you some practical strategies that you could start doing right now, today, to start becoming on top of the world. Now, if any of this resonates with you, I encourage you, go to the show notes, book a chat with me. Let's talk about how we could get started. I have my Trials to Triumph 8-week course, which is guided along with side with me. And we start working through some of these pattern disconnects and we start changing these habits and we start really taking back control. So I encourage you, check it out, book a call with me. I would love to chat about whatever you want to chat about, really. but let's start working towards that more joyous and happy life because you so, 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 so deserve it. So thanks again, and we will see you back soon. Bye.